get into the news. All right. Whoa, look at this shit. Is that like a chain around there? Holy fuck. This is from Vice. Christian nationalism drove these people out of their churches. I've been talking about religion on my show pretty much nonstop since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade and abortion rights in this country. And, you know, a couple of people, they push back on me. They say, no, religion's not the problem. It's religious fundamentalists. Well, one of the things that I disagree with these people on that say that religious fundamentalists are the problem and regular religious people are great is that religious fundamentalists weaponize their religion to brainwash the so-called good Christians into believing even crazier and crazier shit. And the reason why I'm against faith-based thinking as a whole, what is faith-based thinking? It is believing things that are 180 degrees in the opposite direction of all the evidence. God, the Christian God, has been disproven. It doesn't exist. It's made up. It's fake. It's make-believe, all right? The Bible, made up. It's fake. Jesus probably didn't even exist, but if he did exist, he didn't rise from the dead like a fucking zombie. It's made up, okay? They made it up. So, again, but if you are susceptible to believing in fairy tales and magical thinking, you are susceptible, like it's the same kind of disease and the brain rot of like liberalism, right? Where you think, oh yeah, you know, Medicare for all, it's too expensive. I mean, the reality is it would save money. It's actually less expensive. But liberals go like, oh, how are we going to pay for Medicare for all? We can't do it. It's too expensive. Again, all the facts, 100, not 99, not 80, not 51% of the facts, 100% of the facts say that Medicare for all would, one, save lives, and it would be cheaper. But there are still liberals that think, oh, it's too expensive, right? But it's that magical thinking. It's the ability, right, to outsource your opinions to another person without doing any of your own research. That is the root cause of why I am so against religion in this country. So I want to read this story because this story is about people that noticed that their churches were turning into essentially Klan rallies. And again, a couple people leave their churches, and that's great. That's great. I'm happy that they're waking up. I have no problem with someone who used to be religious and they're no longer religious. I have no problem with someone who used to be a liberal and now they're not a liberal anymore. I have no problem with someone who used to be a cop and now they're not a cop anymore, etc., etc. Right? So if people realize that this shit is going way off the rails and they jump off the ship, that's great and that should be encouraged. But again, there is realistically, fundamentally, in the real world, pragmatically speaking, there really is no difference between Christian fundamentalism and just whatever regular Christianity is. I gotta be honest, what is the difference? Like, really? Like, I don't know, man. Have you ever been a queer person talking to random Christians? Because every once in a while, they say some really fucked up shit. Like, regular people that, you know, aren't like Republicans that are Christians, every once in a while, they say some really fucking crazy fucked up shit. Right? I don't know, man. I'd say, you know what? I'm going to avoid all of these people for the most part. But anyway, let's get into this article and I'll go on further. Pastor Ron Tucker took the stage one weekend in early June at Grace Church in the St. Louis suburb of Maryland Heights to deliver a sermon on Romans. In the first 15 minutes, Tucker railed about Antifa, Black Lives Matter, critical race theory, feminism, gun laws, abortion, protesters disrupting Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's dinner at DC Steakhouse, and promoted the baseless claim that the Capitol riot was a hoax. You know what else is a baseless claim, by the way? The media loves to say the big lie, the baseless claims. But the media is afraid to say that Christianity is a baseless claim. There's a God that's watching over us that like spawned a son out of a virgin, and then that guy died, he got nailed to the cross, right? And then he got resurrected as a zombie and then did some miracles. Why is media afraid to say the baseless claims of Christianity that have been debunked decades ago? Why doesn't media say that? They have no problem saying that Republicans' conspiracy theories are based on nothing and they don't exist and they're made up. They have no problem with that, which is true. Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. There was no election in terror. Right, all that stupid fucking shit. Joe Biden is the winner. But why is it that media, when it comes to religion, they're afraid to say the truth? If we want to talk about a big lie, if we want to talk about the big lie, I would say this whole God thing, I would say that's a pretty fucking big lie. Right up there with the idea that the more money you have, the better person you are. I'd say these are some pretty big fucking lies. And I think that they should be dealt with. Their woke ideology is separating people into groups and taking our nation apart. And it's being taught in our schools under the heading of critical race theory, Tucker said. The way you get promoted in a woke business is based on your degree of victimhood. If you're a black lesbian, you're at the top of the heap. I mean, would you trust someone to fly your plane just because they're part of a minority? Again, it's the magical thinking, folks. Now, again, not all Christians are right-wingers, all right? But when you are able, when your brain is constructed, when your ego, when your identity is constructed around the idea that you will outsource your thinking to other people, you will do no fact-checking, and you'll believe shit that's just blatantly made up, that's what leads to this. Now, of course, the inherent assumption is that, oh, because someone's a black lesbian, they can't be a good pilot? What? What? Would you want someone to fly a plane just because they're a minor? It's not like they're like, oh, like they're looking at the passenger list. Oh, shit. Are there any black people on the plane? And then they just like pick a random, oh, you're a black lesbian? Great, now get in there, fly the plane. That's not how it works, motherfucker. Right? Like, but again, these people are fucking stupid. They don't do any research. It's magical thinking through and through. Right? Like believing in critical race theory. It's magical thinking. Just as magical as believing in Adam and Eve were spawned in the Garden of Eden. It's all a bunch of stupid fucking horse shit, okay? Tucker founded Grace Church, a non-denominational congregation in 1978. These days, it's not unusual for him to use his time on the pulpit to unleash a torrent of right-wing grievances and stoke fears of imminent Marxist takeover. But according to some of his congregants, it's a stark departure from his old preaching style. Quote, "It's honestly weird, because it never used to be like that," said Emily Lynch, 33. I want to be very honest with you. It was always like that. Religious institutions were always preaching a bunch of made-up garbage to get you to do what they want. What is the difference between evolution is made up, the scientists are all lying, the climate's not changing? What's the difference between that and the critical race theories teaching our kids to be woke? What's the difference? They're both made up garbage based on nothing. Pastors, priests, whatever, they have all these different fucking titles. Their main goal is, one, to gain power, and to, two, convince you to believe things that are verifiably untrue. That is their goal. So no fucking shit they're gonna be right-wing fucking psychopaths. No fucking shit. Have you ever been around these Christians? What were these so-called good Christians doing 30 years ago, 40 years ago? Like during the AIDS crisis? What were these so-called good Christians doing? What are these so-called good Christians doing right now? Have you seen any big Christian organization, a big church, like, use all of their tax-exempt donations to, I don't know, bring people across state lines who need abortions? Have you seen this? These mega churches that are supposedly chock full of good Christians? Have you seen them do anything Now, maybe a couple of institutions have done something, and if you know of any, please let me know. But I'm sick and tired of this good Christian garbage. I really am. They never spoke about politics, as if a 6-year-old is going to know whether or not a pastor is talking about politics. But okay. It was a quote-unquote feel-good church. Noelle Fortman, 23, and her mother had similar experiences with the Grace Church when they joined in 2010. It was a pleasant community. It was welcoming and diverse. The sermons were just very uplifting and, biblical. Biblical? What does that mean? Biblical? It's one of those, like, Rorschach test kind of words. Right? Like, it means something different to everyone that reads it or says it. Biblical? What does it mean to me? Well, biblical means God's going to smite me for being gay. God's going to fucking kill me for being transgender. That's what biblical means to me. Biblical to someone else might mean Jesus and goddamn Christ. You know what I mean? It's a Rorschach test. It means nothing. No information is conveyed. When someone says the word biblical, it's like Mad Libs. You might as well put a bunch of underscores there and fill in the blank. It doesn't mean anything. They're not conveying any information. It was very uplifting and, biblical. The best part about that is, as if like, oh yeah, no, you know what I mean? Like, it's biblical. What? What? Now, instead of talking about compassion and loving your neighbor, Tucker is preparing his 1,500-strong flock for a bloody final battle where the bullets are real. I have a question for all these good Christians. If you're a good Christian, why don't you act like a good cop? What is a good cop? A good cop is someone that was a cop, quit the force, and now uses all of their information and understanding of how police work to get other people to quit the force and to reform police as an institution. So why don't these good Christians, why don't they try to bring all of these people off the fucking goddamn deep end, out of the deep end? Hey, maybe, you know what? We shouldn't believe in the whole God thing. Maybe the God thing's a little bit fucking stupid. But you know what? Maybe the Bible's got a couple of good parts to it. Maybe like the Jesus watching people jerk off thing. Maybe we can get rid of that. But the Jesus saying that, like, rich people should pay taxes and that, whatever, blah, 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 whatever they fucking terminology is. But I know the Bible is very against rich people. You know what? If a good Christian wants to say, fuck the magical thinking, but you know what? The Bible's a cool fairy tale and we can get some nice fucking things from it. I'm in. That would be a good Christian. A good Christian saying, no, it's okay to still believe in God. You just got to believe in the right version of God. It doesn't fix the root problem. It's like if you've got a leak, like a plumbing related issue, right? And you just put Scotch tape on it. Now, it might stop the problem for a couple of minutes, but it's not going to be as good as replacing the pipe. So this is why, again, I'm just curious what these so-called good Christians are doing for Christianity and for Christians. These so-called good Christians. Because all I see them doing is continuing to enable magical thinking at all times. That's what I see. And that's why I don't like the concept of a good Christian, in the same way that I don't like the concept of a good cop. I don't think they exist. I don't like the idea that someone is going to tell me that there's a good Republican. Now, if you were born and raised a diehard Catholic, that's fine. But at any point, you can choose to literally read a single science book. Just go to the bookstore, go into the science section, read anything. Just read anything. Just one book. Just one of them. And again, it will disprove everything that the Bible has to offer. Now again, but you love like the singing songs part of Christianity, you love like the getting together with your family parts, great! You can do that without believing in God. You can get together with your family and have a beautiful fucking dinner without believing in God, right? You can, every Sunday, you can hang out with all your best friends in the community without believing in God. Why do people feel like there is an inextricable link between believing in God and being a member of a community? Believing in God and celebrating tradition. I have lots of traditions. I celebrate Christmas sometimes. I mean, 5 or 6 times throughout my life I've celebrated it, but mostly because other people want me to. But you know what? I don't mind the opening present stuff. Whatever, it's all good. That doesn't mean you have to fucking believe in God. Oh, you want to light a couple of fucking candles and sing a couple songs and like speak a fucking language from your people from like fucking 6,000 years ago? Fucking feel free. Why does that have to do anything at all with believing in God? Like, you know what I mean? Again, I'm just asking the so-called good Christians. Why don't you try to make a post-Christian way of organizing? Like, yeah, we stopped believing in the whole God thing, but you know what? We love the community angle, and we just want to kind of like copy and paste all that over and cut out the God stuff. That would be great. That would be wonderful. I don't see it anywhere. Now, again, I could be just missing it. I'm going to continue reading this article. I know this is going to be the main thing I'm going to talk about today, so just bear with me. Oh, God. In the weekend resources section of its website, Grace Church offers a lengthy list of reading and watching recommendations, including books by far-right commentator Candace Owens and the documentary, quote-unquote, 2000 Mules. Why don't they say including books by the far-right King James? Why don't they say including books by genocidal maniac? Insert prophet here from other stupid religions. Again, why is it that the media has no problem calling out the big lie when it comes to Donald Trump's bullshit? But when it comes to the big lie of believing in God and these Bible-istic fairy tales, all of a sudden, oh, you know, it's biblical, bro! Shit's fucking crazy. This is not cruise ship Christianity right now, Pastor Tucker said in another sermon earlier this year. We are a battleship. Wait, you're telling me that the people that believe that there's like an end times that it's coming, like what is it, like Revelation or something? There's going to be an end time. All the Christians are going to ascend to earth or to heaven, and then the rest of the fucking evil scum on fucking earth are going to like kill each other and die in like an inferno of You're telling me those people are a little wacky? Huh, interesting. I would have never have guessed that those people that believe in end times and that the fucking ground's gonna open up and Satan's gonna come out and fucking stick pitchforks up people's asses. You're telling me that that guy believes other really interesting conspiracy theories? Wow. Shocking. That's shocking. And again, what is the root cause? Magical thinking. That's what leads to all of this. So yeah, I know, a lot of people push back on me. Oh, but the good Christians, there's this person I know, they believe in God and they're a good person. That's great. I'm glad that they're not a psycho on everything else. But on the God question, they're a fucking psycho. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm sorry if that's offensive, but you know what's offensive? Fucking religious fundamentalism and the control that religion has had on people like me forever. Forever. Religious people have genocided queer people forever. Forever. Religious people have put people like me on a stake and burned people like me for thousands of fucking years. So forgive me if I don't have any fucking tears to shed, if you feel fucking offended because someone questioned that your stupid fucking book is fucking made up garbage. Okay? Forgive fucking me. Oh no, I'm alienating the poor precious fucking thin-skinned snowflake godhead motherfuck? Oh, dear me. Oh, how oppressed you are being a Christian in America. You're so oppressed. Go fuck yourself. And if you really were a good Christian, you wouldn't feel offended by what I have to say, because you know what I have to say is me speaking my righteous truth, if you're a good Christian. So these so-called good Christians that cry and whine when people like me talk about their stupid fucking ideology, they're not good Christians, right? All it takes is one trigger and they're right back in to that fucking stupid fuckface far-right mentality of, oh, we're all oppressed and the end times are coming, blah, blah, blah. Jesus fucking Christ. These thin-skinned snowflake fuckers. Oh, God. Let me cry a fucking river for the oppressed Christian minority in this country. In a country where 81% of this country believes in fucking God? Let me shed my tears for these fucking God people. Oh, they're so oppressed. Boo-hoo. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. You know, a lot of people love to say, you know, we can debate anything, just don't debate religion. I think we need to bring back religious debates. Someone let some of these good Christians know that I'm interested. Again, I'm talking about like socialist Christians, which, you know, again, if you want to get rid of all the magical fairy tale stuff and say Jesus was a socialist and we should use those teachings to advance humanity, I'm in. But that doesn't make you a Christian. Right? That doesn't make you a Christian. It just makes you say, like, oh, yes, this historical fairy tale has some good stuff in it. Let's, you know, use it as a little bit of a guidebook. I'm down with that. Why is it that all these good Christians are afraid to debate whether or not magical thinking is permissible or okay? I'm just curious. I would love to have a respectful debate with one of these good Christians that people keep telling me about. I'm just curious. Now, again, I know I have a lot of strong things to say, and I'm sure they do as well. But when you get right down to it, again, faith-based thinking is the root problem. Believing in things that have no evidence at all that support them. Again, it's like if I had this 7-Eleven lighter, right? And I drop it, but I'm fully convinced it's going to start floating in midair. Check this out. Oh, guess what? The laws of gravity disagree with my faith-based thinking. It's that fucking simple. I'm sick and tired of treating 81% of Americans that believe in God like they're fucking children. This infantilizing of Christians and God people. Oh, we can't offend the God people. It's infantilizing. It's treating them like children. Oh, don't, you know, little Timmy doesn't know that Santa Claus is made up yet. Don't say that around him. Imagine, oh, little Jimmy, 9 years old, they overheard their auntie talking about being, you know, dressing up as Santa Claus. Oh, poor little Jimmy. Oh. Eddie, oh. Eddie was a whiz kid, 11 years old. And he went into his mother's room and found the Santa costume. Oh, poor kid. I'm sick and tired of treating grown fucking adults like they're children. They're fucking children is what they are. You believe in God and you don't want me to talk about how stupid that fucking shit is? You are a child, motherfucker. You are not a grown-up. You are not an adult. You have never had an original thought in your entire fucking life. Jesus fucking Christ. Could you imagine living 30 years on this planet and reading the news every day and still believing in God? Imagine living 40 years on this planet, reading the news every day and still believing in God? What the fuck? What the fuck? Dumbass motherfuckers. Dumbass motherfuckers, man. They're so fucking stupid.
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
I'm going to read more of this article. I got ice in my mouth. I'm going to swallow the ice. Hold up. It's too big. Well, I'll set it with some coffee. You ever fucking slide an ice cube down your throat and you just go like, you just feel it and it gets, and then eventually, you know, oh my God. Anyway. It's hard to pinpoint exactly when Tucker's radicalization began. No, it's not. The radicalization began when he started the fucking church in 1978 or whenever it was. That's the radicalization. Believing in God is radical and extreme. It is extreme and radical To think that a magical sky daddy controls your life and that angels are looking over you and that the revelation and end times are coming, and then if you fucking jerk off too many times, you're gonna go to hell for all eternity. That's fucking radical, if you ask me. But Fortman said she first started noticing politics creeping into his sermons around the beginning of Donald Trump's presidency. Initially, she said, it was easy to shrug off. Tucker was a trusted pastor and had been a consistent voice in her life for years. That's the fucking problem. Imagine listening to someone for fucking 30 years, 40 years, and you don't know they're a right-wing psycho. If they're a right-wing psycho and you don't know about it and you're listening to everything they're saying, you're being fucking brainwashed, motherfucker. You're being fucking brainwashed. Jesus fucking Christ. Again, religious people are children. They are fucking kids that are doing what mommy and daddy tell them to do. They're fucking losers. They're not real people. They're not adults. They're not free-thinking, critical-thinking human beings. They're Neanderthals. Every single one of these religious people. Oh, so offensive. So offensive. Jesus fucking Christ. Plus, she and her mom weren't that involved in the church community itself. They came for the Bible stories and the concert quality music performances. Again, you can love Bible stories. I was binging the Yu-Gi-Oh anime last night. I love that shit. But it's one thing to believe that Bible stories are cool and good and fun to watch and listen to, and to believe that they are literally true fairy, like they're tales from the past. They're historical, documented things, and God is real. Those are different things. I know that there is no such thing as the Millennium Puzzle. It's made up. It's a cartoon, right? But imagine if I walked around and was like, oh yeah, the Millennium Puzzle from Yu-Gi-Oh, that's real. It's in Egypt right now, and so is the Blue Eyes White Dragon. You'd think I'm a fucking weirdo. You'd think I'm a fucking child. You'd think I'm a freak. Wouldn't you? That'd be pretty fucking weird, wouldn't it? It's strange, is what it is. It's fucking strange. One time, he'd start the sermons with this rambling 30 to 40 minute rant that sounded like it was straight from like Fox News. One time we went there, he referred to the COVID vaccine as the mark of the beast that we needed to fight against. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. You know what else is crazy? The fact that you were going there for 30 fucking years to begin with. That is fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. That is fucking crazy ass fucking shit. That is insane. You were going to a fucking church, listening to a right-wing psychopath talk about this God shit that you actually believe. That's fucking crazy. Another time she thought she saw a black family get up and leave halfway through one of Tucker's rants about critical race theory. She began noticing a lot of churchgoers doing the same. At this time, she began seeing new faces, older and whiter than before. Fortman and her mother both left the church that year. In one recent sermon, Tucker acknowledged that he may have offended some members of the congregation. I've read your emails, I've watched people walk out the church as I've gotten into this stuff. But we're in a critical moment, he said, and he's concerned about the church being taken over by a government agency called the Ministry of Truth. Y'all, when you hear a pastor talking about critical race theory and you don't get up and leave immediately, like you stay and you go next week, and then 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 a year later you're like, huh, maybe it's time to leave. I got news for you. You're a fucking moron. If I were going to fucking anywhere and someone that I had trust in was talking about critical fucking race theory, I would unsubscribe, I would walk the fuck out, and I'd never listen to them again. It's that fucking simple. It's that fucking goddamn simple. The story is not unique to Grace Church. Politics and culture wars have crept into pulpits and pews across the U.S. in recent years. It's not just the evangelical church, whose ties to the GOP have been the target of heavy scrutiny for decades. It's churches and parishes across denominations, state lines, socioeconomic status. Christians from around the country who spoke to Vice News said they've witnessed their congregations lose focus and slide into Christian nationalism. That's not losing focus. That's gaining focus. That's zoning in on focus. What do you think the logical conclusion of Christian nationalism or Christianity is. Okay. What is Christianity? Is a belief in God and Jesus, and that, you know, you're a follower of Jesus and you want to tell everyone you know about Jesus. Well, if you want to tell everyone you know about Jesus, and you want everyone to believe in Jesus and accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior, wouldn't you want to build a nation founded upon those values? I mean, like, let's be honest, right? Like, the idea that Christian nationalism and Christianity are different. What? What? No, they're the fucking same thing. They're the same fucking thing. It's the same fucking thing. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I just, like, these people are insane. You believe in God, you believe in the Christian God, you're a fucking idiot. It's that simple. I don't know how else I need to say this. You are a fucking idiot, and I take everything you say with a grain of salt. If I find out that you're a Christian and you believe in this God shit, now again, I want to be very clear. If you believe in, like, simulation theory and that, like, we're all on a computer program, like it's the Matrix, right? It's unfalsifiable at this current moment in time. There are very serious scientific people that have no idea whether or not we're in a simulation. It's possible. But you know what's not possible? That the earth was created 5,000 years ago and God created Adam and Eve from the rib or whatever the fuck. That is not possible. That has been scientifically disproven. That is wrong. So if you want to make up your own religion and believe in your own creation myth or like whatever, I'm fine with that. That's cool. Like Scientology, I have way more respect for Scientology than I do for Christianity. Because now, again, I don't know much about Scientology, but I know they've got like aliens or something, but the aliens hide themselves. And I don't know what. At least they're coming up with something interesting. At least. Right? They're trying to keep up to date with the times. But these Christians, man, no. They're like, yeah, I know this has been disproven. Yeah, I know 2 + 2 = 4, but I'm going to say 2 + 2 = 6 anyway, because that's what my mama told me. My mommy told me that 2 + 2 = 69. And so, god damn it, why don't you think it's 69 too? Dumb motherfuckers. Dumb motherfuckers. Anyway, you can read the rest of this. It just goes in about other stories of people. But I know a lot of people. I did this video yesterday about religion. I did a video response to the Majority Report's video about, like, we must differentiate between religious people and religious fundamentalists or whatever. I say fuck that. I say anyone that will seriously tell you that God is real, you want to stay the fuck away from them. You want to stay the fuck away from those motherfuckers. And these so-called good Christians, if you really were a good Christian, what you would do is steer people away from magical thinking. I have no problem, like, with these fucking, like, you know, people that come from Republican families. People that are born and raised in southern states and they love their southern heritage and all that stupid shit. And they use that as a way to get involved in Republican communities, to deprogram them and to, like, unwash their brains. That's fine. That's great. That's fucking wonderful. That's amazing. I love people that used to be cops, they quit the force, and now they write books about, like, what it's really like to be a cop. And then they do, like, you know, oh, I was doing a patrolling with someone who was, like, a higher rank than me, and they specifically pulled over a black person and beat the shit out of them because they were black, and they said so when we got back in the car, and here's their name and badge number, by the way. Right? Those are great cops. Why are they great cops? They used to be cops. They knew what they were doing was wrong. They shut the fuck up and got out. And then they dedicate their lives to making sure people don't fall into the same trap and to expose the wrongdoings of these organizations. You ever think it's weird that the largest pedophile cult on earth is the Catholic Church? You ever think that that's weird? You're telling me you're a Catholic. You go to church. You're a Catholic. You pray to God. Meanwhile, the Pope is fucking little kids every day of the year. And you're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with this. I still have my faith. What? What? Motherfucker, if my leader was caught fucking kids every day, I wouldn't have that faith in that leader. Let me just fucking tell you. I wouldn't give a fuck what that leader has to say. I would renounce my faith immediately. So again, just to be very clear with my position, and I know I'm going on here, but this is something, a deeply held belief of mine, is to permit magical thinking at all is to harm people in the long run. Now again, I want to be very clear. I hope and pray that nobody watching my show has me as their only source of information. Everything I say, if I cite a statistic, I want you to look it up. Like when I say that 93% of Americans have a fucked up metabolism because they don't know how to eat vegetables, I want you to look these things up and verify that that's true. Because if you don't, and you let people lie to you, and you let people enable you to believe in magical things, you're doing yourself a disservice, you're doing everyone around you a disservice, right? And I just like the idea that someone wants me to listen to what they have to say. They want me to take them seriously. And they'll just allow these weird God people. Oh, they don't want to hurt their precious feelings. Oh, okay, wow. I'm sorry, man. I'm sick. I'm done. I'm done. After Roe v. Wade has been overturned by the Supreme Court, I'm done. I have no more... I have nothing. There is nothing holding me back from shitting on religion every step of the way until these motherfuckers are out of power. It's that fucking simple. Guess what? The Christians, they control the fucking government. And they're rolling back our rights. And they're fucking with us. Everybody, even their fellow Christians. So you know what? Fuck them. And fuck you for defending them. So anyway, there you go.